Okay, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. So I have a really cool strap showcase for you guys from the brand Haveston. A little about them: they're established in 2015 and they are UK based out of London. And essentially they provide high-end NATO strap designs with both functionality and ergonomics in mind. Today we're going to really focus on the BR-82 rubber strap, which is here focused in the center, while also giving you a little sneak preview of actually the same type of Berlin Brigade digital camouflage colorway that actually made it into, and I guess it's making its way out to their standard service straps, the one-piece single pass, as well as the two-piece, which is also a newer release. So this is actually getting to you a little bit ahead of these releases. So depending on when you click down into the links below, you may or might not find every strap, but you'll definitely see the link to the rubber strap, which I think is really, really fun. So big shout out to Haveston, of course, for sending these in early. I do appreciate that. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Haveston brand. I mean, I'm definitely probably one of the first people to review their stuff online, and honestly, there's, you know, iteratively have just gotten better and better. And I love the brand that they're building, and I'm always happy to support their new releases. So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get these pieces in hand, and take a closer look. Okay guys, let's start with, of course, the inspiration here, which is going to be this beautiful FKM rubber strap with quick release spring bars. Beautiful hardware, as you guys can see, just like you would expect, nicely signed, and beautiful contours on this one. And I do like the colors in terms of the color play here. I dig that this really matches with everything. I did want to make sure to kind of highlight that by, you know, showcasing a black dial and a white dial, and, you know, you kind of get that air, land, and sea, because this is actually, you know, the naval chronometer style of watch. So with that said, let's take a look here. Now, this is a Glycine Airman 18, for those of you that are wondering, and it's a watch that I've had in my collection forever. I probably don't wear it enough. It's probably almost too versatile. It has 200 meters of water resistance. It has a GMT movement. It's relatively thin. The only thing is that it's not on a bracelet. But I will say, on a strap like this, it definitely, you know, I feel like it makes a case to why it should be on the wrist. And I just really like the way that these color schemes just come together. And of course, it does tie into a, you know, particular military aesthetic that I can appreciate, of course, from my time serving in the United States Marine Corps. Now, a little bit about this particular BR-82 rubber strap. So it's based on the distinctive 1982 Berlin Brigade digital camouflage scheme employed on vehicles in urban areas, redrawn in-house for a vertical strap profile and printed onto a durable premium FKM rubber base. So unlike the more recent, you know, CAD PAT, the ACU, or of course even the MARPAT, you know, Marine Corps, hey, let's go, digital patterns, the Berlin Brigade used a more dispersed and scaled up pattern to merge with its surroundings of buildings, windows, and doorways, where right angles are all prevalent. So a lesser known and historically significant pattern, which adopts a combination of unique subdued shades, matches dive, field pieces, and general kind of blue, gray, or monotone pieces as well. It's constructed out of a very nice and pliable and supple FKM rubber. So this is actually a fluoro rubber, and it's, you know, providing a very rugged yet practical strap base, which, unlike, you know, lower grade rubbers, this does not attract dust and debris or stick to them. So I think that's really nice. And you can see even on the underside, there's a bit of contouring to just keep a little bit of breathing room on your wrist there. Let me give this a quick little wipe here. Not that I'm showcasing the watch, but I know it can probably be a little distracting to see some of the smudges there. So very clean, guys. I like the little contours here. Of course, that's going to be kind of mimicking a lot of what you guys have seen from kind of a standard 3-link style of bracelet. So that's going to be quite universal as well. I just dig this. And I mean, even with this gradient blue dial, it still flows really, really well. And again, this compared to something like my modern Marpat, right? The Marine Corps digital camouflage pattern. This is a lot more spread out, right? And I dig that look versus the more condensed look of the digital patterns of today, which is great, especially when it's on a uniform. But I like that this really mimics, of course, stuff that was of a larger scale on vehicles for urban and tactical warfare. So it's just a really cool look. And again, I think it's really versatile. I think if you don't know about the history behind these digital camouflage patterns, you'll just see this and think that looks cool. And it does. It looks quite cool. Check that out. And they even integrated little H's, right, for Haveston. So I don't know. I really dig that. You got a fixed keeper here, and then a sliding keeper, and then this beautiful hardware. So this two-piece layout is really nice, and you know, I think it's just a nice setup. It's cool that they've moved into this. You know, they're really well known for straps like this, right? Their service series. This is absolutely gorgeous. Again, that Berlin Brigade colorway, but you know, instead of it being a digital pattern, it's just showing you the colors here that play beautifully. This is a Praecidus watch here that is, you know, essentially a play on the Dirty Dozen, and I think it looks great. It's you know, this is actually one of the finishes to where it looks brand new, so there's no fauxtina, but if it did have it, I think it would still go well because this does have hints of brown there, so the warm tones I think go really well. Look at the hardware here. You got the sliding keeper. You have beautifully done. I mean, they just seem to take things up a notch every iteration, and it's just like they just keep refining and improving their formula, and I really, really appreciate that. Now, something else a little unexpected, two-piece. So the cool thing about a two-piece strap now is, hey, look, you can take advantage of the beautiful case back that's open there, and you can see this really great movement on this beautiful lacquer. And then the nice thing is you still do have a sliding keeper, so you can tuck the tail away quite nicely. This is a slightly different hardware set. And I'm sure that probably has to do with just the height. You know, I do prefer the other hardware, but this is not bad at all. I actually kind of like the chunkier nature of it because this is actually a pretty chunky strap. Check that out. So this is going to be like 2-ply. So it's really going to have a lot of structure to it, which typically you won't get from a strap like this. So I like, again, that they do this thing where it's not just, you know, design, which I think they do a great job with, but it's also the execution. And then with this, of course, you have 2-ply here, but it's to secure that sliding keeper. So I think that that's nice that when this all kind of rolls up and folds up, it's going to give you a nice amount of structure on the wrist. So that's really cool. You also are, of course, getting quick release spring bars. And again, this is a little sneak peek at these guys. These aren't available to purchase yet, but if you like what you're seeing, now you know, hey, follow Haveston on Instagram. You know, stay up to date with their releases and everything, because they do really, really cool stuff. Now, in terms of the star of the show today, guys, and again, this is just to show you guys how versatile white dial, black dial, blue dial with a gradient. I mean, come on. This has a cool little layout. It's available in 20 or 22 millimeters. That's pretty much going to be pretty standard for any of their straps in terms of some of the options, 20 and 22 millimeters. And I do like that this, you know, these retail for $34.65 each. So that's awesome. I mean, there are definitely way more expensive rubber straps that are out there. And the fact that Haveston is still offering a high value, even though they do so much work in terms of their packaging, their branding, and everything like that. And of course, the quality. And I mean, look at the hardware there. Even though they're doing all that, they're still really trying to make these quite approachable, which I appreciate. And you know what? They even do free shipping for orders over $39. You can also use a 10% off code, which is field set, and that's worked on their site forever. And essentially it works on anything except for end of line products, that are on anything that's already on sale, or, certain select items like packaged, sets where you're already getting a discount, right? So, I mean, you're already going to save money on those, so you're not going to be able to save an extra 10% on top. So, these look awesome though, but with that said, you know what, why don't I try this on? And since this isn't a watch review, we won't cut away, we'll just demo it for you. So as you guys can see, very nice, very pliable. And for those of you with shorter wrists, I think you'll be quite happy with the length here, because you're not going to have a lot of extra tail lengths sitting out. And I do have a 7.5 inch wrist, which is slightly larger than average, but you can see I'm down to the last few holes, so there's not going to be that extra tail. Check that out. Ooh, that just looks good. I'm digging the color play. I like the way everything kind of goes. And again, even without all of the background, all kind of along the military history around this colorway and this pattern, I think this is still just a really good looking, versatile strap that does offer you a pop of color, but it's still quite subdued. And I think very, very versatile. The same goes, of course, for the nylon strap options. Here, it's just, it's well made. I mean, what else can I say? The spring bars are quick release. This has a nice, standard sizing of 120 millimeters on the long side, and just 70 on the short end there on the buckle, which some of you will prefer, because normally I want to say 80 millimeters is pretty standard. So the fact that they did this in 70 and 120, I think is going to bode well for those of you with smaller wrists when you want to be able to get this stuff really nice and centered. So very, very cool. I just dig it, guys. I mean, look at that setup. It looks awesome. But this isn't, of course, the only strap here, guys. We have, a wide array of other straps as well to look at. So why don't we go to their more classic setup here. I do like that they have single pass. So you're going to be able to take advantage of the thinness here. But you're going to still have that security of the, the closed loop system, which is very nice. So let's go ahead, put this on. And another nice thing is, although I do have that larger wrist, the nice thing is that they do a nice job really dialing in the lengths. They're not, normally I'd say standard length wise, I end up kind of in a bit of a no man's land where, the strap is just long enough for me to not be able to fold anything back. And the thing I like about Haveston is they shortened the strap. So typically you're not going to have too much to fold back. And that's great for me with a larger wrist. It's also nice for those of you with a shorter wrist, is you're going to have less slack you're going to have to fold back, which works out. And especially with that sliding keeper, I think that's just really well done. And guys, look at that setup. Ooh. I know this isn't an original Dirty Dozen watch, but man, it just does a great job rendering and capturing that beautiful aesthetic of just, functionality, kind of creating the form factor. And yeah, it's black. It's going to match with anything. And I think these straps in this colorway go really, really well with so many other options, right? In terms of you can kind of wear this with anything, and I think it's just gonna flow. It has, some earthy tones, it has some cool tones as well. And then, you get into something that it's gonna be a little bit more on the dressy side, right? This lacquer. But these maritime chronometer, naval chronometer style watches, of course, did serve their purpose as well in terms of, military use. And I think that it goes really well with this particular setup, especially with the two-piece, it's a little bit more of a dressy style. So now, of course, you are compromising in that you don't have the closed loop system, but you still get the look. And now, not only do you get the look, you get a little bit of extra in terms of just the feel on wrist and the level of just kind of structure and solid feel and wear. I think that's really, really nice. I mean, it's like, I gotta try to bend that in just to show you guys how well that sits. Check that out. Very, very nice. Beautifully blued hands and whatnot, so that's going to play really well. And of course, if you were to have a gray dial, it would look great on here too. And I think this goes well. And you don't have to necessarily have, like I've chosen here to showcase, you don't need some type of military history, historical type of piece. I think this all just looks really, really good regardless. Check that out. And then even if you just want to have something that's just a little bit dressy in general, I think this colorway will go great with it. Like I'm sure you guys can kind of imagine now, even if it's just like a Bauhaus type of watch, if you have a Nomos or something like that, I think this would look gorgeous on that. And it has nothing to do with kind of the military use and everything to do with just colors that go well together, and I dig that. So there's a certain level of versatility here, of course, and you can see it, 3 different ways, whether it be with the digital pattern, you can go also single pass traditional, or you can do a 2-piece that's kind of a hybrid of everything, and it kind of comes together. And yeah, this actually feels really good. And the nice thing is, since there is nothing to slide underneath the case back, 1, you can take advantage of a display case back, and 2, you can take advantage of the thinness of the watch and really keep that thing nice and flat on your wrist, guys. So I guess we can get into some closing thoughts here, guys. I'm just happy to see Haveston expand and grow, especially into this, this growing FKM strap market. You guys have seen me review quite a few FKM straps, on the channel within the last couple of months. And yeah, I dig FKM rubber straps. They're very comfortable, they're dust resistant, and they typically do pretty well in terms of wearing well. And I know there's a wide range in terms of pricing. I think this is a real sweet spot though. So that Berlin Brigade digital camo, I think it might be one of their most versatile patterns yet. Not just the pattern itself, but the colorways, right? I think it's cool. It's just, I like that it feels at home paired to both field and dive watches, among many other styles as well. But typically, hey, for those of us that collect, those can be pretty big parts of our collections: field, dive, and pilot, right? A little air, land, and sea action. So these all wear very comfortable. Of course, the FKM is especially comfortable. But these are all just well thought out, great ergonomics, soft and pliable. And then they go back to that same parallel of rugged yet refined. So yeah, and there's this thoughtful and premium touches that these are just full of just those fine little details that we've come to expect from Haveston. So, these are a premium product executed to a high level of finish from a brand with an eye for military designs that continue to impress with every new release, update, and iteration. And I have to say, that is a constant. That's just kind of been my closing thoughts for Haveston over the years. They just keep improving. I like what they're doing. I love that they continue to bring stuff that interests me on a very personal level, and I'm happy to share them with you guys, because at the end of the day, that's what my channel is about. It's just sharing kind of my passion with you all. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.